Hello, everybody. This is my post-fight UFC post show, I guess. It's been a couple of days since. It's been almost a week actually now. What is today? Wednesday. So it's been almost a week since the fight. Decided to give it a little bit of time before I came back and wrote about it. But might as well do it now while I got a little bit of time. Most of the fights went pretty well, as you can see by my banner. I went 7-3 on this fight. Once again, Anderson Silva just dominated. I mean, none of his fights have gone past the second round now since he entered the UFC. It's been pretty amazing because he's gone up against top talent. All right, first fight of the night, George Gurgel. I said he was going to win by tap out in the first round. Once again, George Gurgel disappointed me because he went up against John Halverson, which no offense to John Halverson, but George Gurgel is supposed to be the by far superior grappler. But George Gurgel ended up winning unanimous decision. Good on him. Diego Sanchez. I thought Diego Sanchez was going to pretty much dominate him on the ground, dominate David Duckheiden. Uh, he did. He did, but he dominated harder than I expected. He won in the first round. He tapped out via strikes. Good on you, Diego. Give him a good fighter now. Josh Koscheck went up against Dustin Hazlett, which I expected it to be a little bit slower than it was. I thought it was going to be a little bit more grinding, but still in the first round get a rear naked choke. Didn't happen. Dustin Hazlett was a game opponent, and he was ringing Josh's bell for a little bit. I loved how Blackhawk, a friend of mine on YouTube, I'm not sure if he makes videos or not, but he was pretty funny because we were watching it together, and he's like, there goes Koscheck doing the same old thing. Jab, overhand right. Jab, jab, overhand right. Fake jab, overhand right. Fake overhand right, overhand right. That's basically Josh Koscheck's only move. But then he came up with that high kick and followed it with an overhand right, of all things. Go figure. Luigi Fioravanti, Luke Kumo. I assumed Luigi was going to do better than Luke Kumo in this fight, and go figure, I was right. It looks like he pretty much just tossed Luke around, overpowered him, which I thought he would because Luigi is a natural. He's a natural middleweight, dropping down to welterweight, and he doesn't drink his own pee. I think he was highly underrated in this fight. I think Luke might have been a little bit rangier and had a larger arsenal in his hands, but Luigi, just has better tools and he's a lot more aggressive. The first fight I got wrong of the night, and boy did I get this one wrong. Jake O'Brien and Andre Arlovsky. I assumed that Jake O'Brien, with his amazing, single leg, quick, hard takedowns that no other heavyweight had been able to withstand, would have been able at least to take Andre Arlovsky down once. And I think he did one time, but that was because Arlovsky kind of slipped. Arlovsky came game. I was wrong, totally wrong about this fight. Good on Arlovsky. Maybe he is as good as the hype makes him out to be. I still don't believe he's as good as half of his fans think he is, but I obviously was wrong on this one. Um, Next fight was Chris Lieben, Alessio Sakara. Pretty much, I thought he was going to end via first round, either submission. Ended up first round TKO. I expected Chris Lieben to be a lot smarter. The smarter Chris Lieben that we saw against Terry Martin. That's not afraid to sling leather, but he's not going to sling leather. He's going to take his time and use his kicks and everything, which he used a lot of kicks in this fight. But it was the Chris Lieben of old where he just charged in there. He didn't look very good. He didn't look very big. He looked big, but he didn't look very, lean as he did in his last fight. He looked like the old Chris Lieben, and he fought like the old Chris Lieben. He moved like the old Chris Lieben. He won like the old Chris Lieben. So hopefully that was just because he didn't respect Alessio Sakara at all. Um, but who knows? Next fight, John Fitch and Chris Wilson. Actually, this fight was it went the way I expected it to in the first round. That Chris Wilson was going to surprise a lot of people. That's mainly because Chris Wilson was highly underrated coming into this fight. I mean, the guy trains with Matt Lindland, probably the best wrestler in the world right now. I mean, one of the most highly decorated wrestlers, and he's going up against John Fitch. He's a little bit lighter than Matt Lindland. He's not going to be as strong as Matt Lindland. He's not going to be as good as a wrestler as Matt Lindland. He's going to be a lot more well-rounded than Matt Lindland, but Chris Wilson is also extremely good with his strikes. Chris Wilson was dinging off on him in the first round, scared him for a little bit. I said he might get a flash KO, and he damn near came close to it. But John Fitch, in true fashion, got him on the ground in the second one, pretty much ground him out, and wore him down. In the third round, was outstriking him. And I think a lot of people said that was saying that John Fitch was exposing this fight. If anything, I think John Fitch, overcame, great adversity, because if Chris Wilson went up against George St. Pierre, I think he would outstrike George St. Pierre. That's just how good Chris Wilson is, and people highly underestimate him. That and no, John Fitch is highly unused to somebody being taller than him in a fight. I mean, John Fitch is huge for a welterweight, so good on John Fitch. Unanimous decision. I thought he was going to catch him in the second round and tap him out. Didn't happen, but still got that pick right. Next fight I got wrong was Evan Tanner against Yushin Okami. Evan Tanner, I thought he'd look a lot better than he did. Mainly because I'm just such an Evan Tanner nut hugger. I didn't expect Evan Tanner to win, of all things. I said Yushin Okami could easily win this, and he should easily win it. But I wanted to pick Evan Tanner just because I'm an Evan Tanner fan. I like the guy. How can you not like him? He's a hard worker. He's a great fighter. He doesn't talk that much trash. He's just a great guy all around. Unfortunately, he got knocked out, which doesn't really happen, and he made Yushin Okami look like an amazing striker, which Yushin Okami is a decent striker, but not an amazing striker. Uh, give him one. I'll give Evan Tanner one more fight, and if he doesn't look good in that fight, or at least look like the old Evan Tanner, got to send him packing. Got to let him retire. It's about time to pack him up, man. Next fight was Czech Congo Heath Herring. I think of all things, Czech Congo should have won this if he fought the way he should have, but he didn't. I think Heath Herring came out and scared him in the very first round when he rocked Czech Congo, and after that, Czech Congo wanted to take him to the ground. I think Heath Herring did a great job in that second round. I mean, he was just kneeing the dog crap out of Czech Congo's gut, and in the third round was controlled that entire fight. If knees to the heads were allowed, Czech Congo would have been knocked out early in the second round. As soon as they hit the ground, and that happened. Uh, Unfortunately, Heath Herring had to take for a split decision because of all people, Cecil Peoples was in that fight, which I don't understand how Cecil Peoples could even give that fight to Czech Congo at all. But he did. Uh, totally wrong about that fight. I shouldn't have been wrong, but I was, because Czech Congo showed his new experience. He's still very, very green in this in this sport, and I think he needs to get with maybe a different camp. I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe get him with a better striking camp. I don't know. Next, the final fight of the night, Anderson Silva versus Dan Henderson. As I said it would happen, Dan Henderson wanted to strike with him, and in the first round, I don't understand where Anderson Silva came off in this match, where at the very end he said Rich Franklin was still one of the best fighters he's ever fought, because Dan Henderson put more of a beat down in that first round than Anderson Silva's ever had in his last 3 or 4 fights. I mean, Dan Henderson they were little bitty shots, but they were just sitting there. He was pounding on Anderson Silva's head, pounding on it in that entire first round. Just dominated that first round as soon as it hit the ground. Even standing, Anderson Silva showed the chink in his armor that he's always had, and nobody's really outside of Lee Murray tried to take advantage of it. And Lee Murray is not a guy that you can take advantage of it. Lee Murray's striking's not much better than Chris Liebman's. It's a lot more dynamic, but it's not much better. Anderson Silva's biggest chink is kind of like Chuck Liddell was. He's got this mystique that people sit there are saying, I'm going to have to outsmart him. And it's a horrible, horrible idea to do that. Um, of course, Anderson Silva ended it via rear naked choke. Beautiful technique, beautiful display of jiu-jitsu. Not many people expected it to be that way. I didn't expect it to be that way. Now, who faces him? I think Lindland is the best bet right now. Philo is the best bet right now. But in the future, the best bet is definitely going to have to be Akiyama. That's it. But I guess that's it. I'm running out of time, guys. So y'all take care. I'll hopefully maybe make another video pretty soon. Later.